Alright guys, here another little video on some hydraulics and some cylinder work. This is the second or third one of these that's come in recently, where the customer had attempted to put in one of these O-ring back Teflon seals into their barrel, and they had taken and wrapped what they thought was thin enough plastic around the piston, and then tried to cram it into the barrel of the cylinder, having wedged it in there so tight that it took a forklift to pull this one back apart. And they tried to wedge that thing down in there, not realizing what they had done is not shrunk the piston seal. This Teflon piston seal, when you get this seal on here, and this is the same whether it is one of these hydraulic cylinders or if you've got a power shift transmission and putting new seals on it, you'll stretch that on there, and that seal will be hanging way out like that. Well, there's multiple ways of doing it. From a lot of the books will tell you that you need a tapered cone special tool that shrinks them back down into place and all kinds of things. And that's great if you've got $100,000 worth of specialty tools for one transmission or one cylinder or something like that. But the way to do this in the field or in simple ways is you simply wrap the seal with 2 or 3 layers of electrical tape, put a hose clamp around it, and suck it down tight. Make sure that you've got it centered up over the groove, and just suck it down tight. All you're doing is shrinking that back down. They're just applying even force around it so that it squeezes it back into position and creates the correct size. And if you don't have the right size hose clamp, do just like I did. Put 2 hose clamps together. This isn't permanent. But then once we get it shrunk back down to size, simply pull your hose clamp off. Finding the end of your tape sometimes is a real booger because it sucks it down tight too. But after you get that tape off of there, there's my end. After you get that tape off there, now your seal is sucked down into position. Now, another way that some of the old-timers will do it is taking like a can of Freon and freezing the seal in order to make it shrink. That works. You see some guys will tell you stick it in the freezer. That kind of works, but it seems like it never quite gets them tucked down tight enough. Another big thing, and I've got to do a little more cleanup inside of this barrel, this is what we call a captive wire cylinder. It has in the bore here, there's a slot, and in the cylinder, there's a hole, and there's a wire that goes in here and then is rotated around the bore and acts like a big internal snap ring. That ledge right there, you can see my fingernail getting caught on it, it develops a ledge there. Well, that ledge, you got to take your little flapper wheel or something and clean that up, clean this rust up in here, and coat that all in some good either grease or not grease, but like an anti-seize or something, in order to prevent it from rusting up and causing you a bunch of issues. Don't take a lot off of that lip, because it can be rounded over too far. If it rounds over too far, you can actually blow the piston or the gland out the end of the barrel. You got to get pretty extreme, but you can. So take care, clean this up, shrink this properly. Lube this up in a bunch of Vaseline, not grease. Vaseline, you want low temp assembly lube so that it doesn't get into your hydraulics and check valves and everything else when it gets flushed out of there. And that should slide right down in that barrel with very minimal ease, very light pressure, just a little light wiggle, and it should slip right in there.